You and your friend make the same amount of money, same salary, same working hours, same city. On paper, your lives should look almost identical. Every month, both of you get paid, both of you pay bills, and both of you try to do the right thing with your money. But fast forward 5 years, and something doesn't add up. Your friend is traveling, investing, and talking about buying assets. Meanwhile, you're still checking your bank account before every purchase, wondering where your money keeps going. It feels like you've been running hard, but somehow staying in the same place. Here's the thing. The difference isn't luck. It's not intelligence. It's not even income. It's the small, almost invisible decisions made every single day. The way money is handled, prioritized, and directed. Because over time, those decisions don't just add up. They compound, and that's exactly where the gap begins. My name is Demas, and I spend way too much time thinking about money. If you're someone who feels stuck financially, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Look, if you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, showing up to work, earning a steady income, trying to save what you can, but still not seeing real progress, that feeling is more common than you think. You're not lazy, you're not irresponsible, and honestly, you're probably not the problem. Here's what most people don't realize. We've been taught a version of financial advice that sounds responsible on the surface, but lacks depth. It tells you what to do: save money, avoid debt, invest early, but rarely explains how to prioritize those actions in real life. So you end up doing a little bit of everything, without real direction, and that's how people stay stuck. Let's talk about the advice you hear all the time. Just save more money. Start investing as early as possible. Pay off all your debt before anything else. Now you might be thinking, that sounds completely reasonable. And look, it is. But here's the problem. It's incomplete. Because real life isn't that clean. Your income is limited, your expenses are real, and every dollar you use in one place is a dollar you can't use somewhere else. Here's what most people don't realize. Financial decisions are not just about doing the right thing, they're about choosing between multiple right things at the same time. And that's where most people get stuck. They try to follow all the advice at once, saving, investing, paying debt, but without a clear strategy. So progress feels slow or invisible. This is where it gets really interesting, because the issue isn't effort, it's allocation. So if it's not about effort, what's actually going wrong? Here's the thing. Two people can earn the exact same income, live in the same environment, and still end up in completely different financial situations. And the gap doesn't come from one big decision. It comes from a series of small ones that seem harmless in the moment. One person saves everything because it feels safe. The other takes calculated risks and starts investing early. One delays paying off high-interest debt because the minimum payment feels manageable. The other aggressively eliminates it to stop the bleeding. Individually, these choices don't look dramatic, but over time, they stack. This is where it gets really interesting, because every financial decision has something called an opportunity cost. When you choose one option, you're silently giving up another. And most people, they don't see what they're giving up, only what they're choosing. Let's make this real with a simple story. Meet two people, same job, same income, same starting point. We'll call the first one the safe saver. The safe saver does what most people are told to do. Every month, they put a decent chunk of money into a savings account. It feels responsible. It feels controlled. They avoid investing because it seems risky, and they stick to minimum payments on their debt because, well, it's manageable. Now meet the strategic investor. They're not reckless. They're not gambling, but they think differently. They keep a smaller emergency fund, just enough to stay safe, and then they start putting money into investments consistently. At the same time, they focus on eliminating high-interest debt as fast as possible. Now you might be thinking, both of them are disciplined. Both are trying to do the right thing. And you're right. But this is where it gets really interesting, because discipline alone doesn't guarantee progress. Direction does. Now let's break this down with actual numbers. Both the safe saver and the strategic investor have $800 per month to work with. Same exact amount, no advantage there. The safe saver puts the full $800 into a savings account. It feels secure. Over 5 years, that's $48,000 saved. Add a small 2% annual interest, and it grows to roughly $50,000. Not bad, right? Now look at the strategic investor. They split it. $300 goes into savings for stability, and $500 goes into investments like index funds. Over 5 years, they invest $30,000. With an average return of 8% annually, that grows to around $36,000, $37,000. Plus, they've been aggressively paying down high-interest debt, meaning less money lost to interest. So even though they didn't save as much, they built more effective wealth. Here's the thing. It's not just about how much money you keep. It's about how efficiently that money grows. Now let's address the question that confuses almost everyone. Should you invest or pay off debt first? Look, this is where most people get stuck because both options sound right, and the truth is they are, but not at the same time. Here's the thing. You need to compare the numbers. Let's say you have $10,000 in credit card debt at 18% interest. At the same time, you're thinking about investing in something that averages around 8% per year. Now, you might be thinking, investing sounds like the smarter long-term move, but it's not. That 18% interest is guaranteed. It's working against you every single day. Meanwhile, that 8% return, it's not guaranteed at all. So mathematically, you're losing more than you're gaining. Now change the situation. Let's say your debt is only 4%, like a student loan. This is where it gets really interesting. Now your potential return, 8%, is higher than your cost, 4%. That's when investing starts to make sense. So if the math is actually pretty straightforward, why do so many people still make the wrong decision? Look, it's not because they're bad with money. It's because they're human. Here's what most people don't realize. Your financial decisions are heavily influenced by psychology, not logic. First, there's loss aversion. The fear of losing money feels stronger than the excitement of gaining it. So even if investing makes sense on paper, people avoid it because the idea of seeing their portfolio go down, even temporarily, feels painful. Then there's instant gratification. Spending money gives you immediate satisfaction. Saving feels safe. But investing? It feels slow, uncertain, and delayed. And most people struggle to prioritize long-term rewards over short-term comfort. And finally, risk misunderstanding. This is where it gets really interesting. People think avoiding investing is safe, but in reality, doing nothing is also a risk. Inflation quietly eats away at your money every year. So the biggest mistake? Thinking you're playing it safe, when you're actually falling behind. So what separates people who stay stuck from those who quietly build wealth over time? Here's the thing. It's not just discipline. It's not even income. It's how they see money. Most people treat money like something to protect, something to hold on to. They focus on not losing it, so they keep it sitting still, usually in a savings account that barely grows. But people who build wealth think differently. They treat money like a tool. Every dollar has a job. Every decision has a purpose. Instead of asking, is this safe? They ask, is this efficient? This is where it gets really interesting. They don't just look at how much money they have. They look at how hard that money is working. So instead of letting money sit idle, they allocate it. Some for safety, some for growth, some for flexibility. And over time, that intentional allocation creates momentum, not overnight, but consistently. And that's what changes everything. So where does all of this leave you? Look, if you've been feeling stuck financially, it doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean you're not working hard enough. And it definitely doesn't mean you're incapable of building wealth. Here's the thing. You might just be following the wrong direction. Because financial progress isn't just about discipline. You can save consistently, avoid mistakes, and still feel like nothing is changing. Why? Because effort without strategy leads to slow or invisible results. This is where it gets really important. Small shifts in how you think about money can completely change your trajectory, not overnight, but over time. Choosing where your money goes, understanding what it's doing, and being intentional with every decision, that's what creates real progress. So instead of asking, am I doing enough? Start asking a better question. Am I making the right moves with what I already have? Because once you get that right, everything starts to compound in your favor.